The missing night shift. At 6:03 a.m. on a rainy Thursday morning, the day supervisor unlocked the side entrance of the old Kingston Packaging Works in the industrial district near Marcus Garvey Drive. Inside, the conveyor belts were still running. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead. 3 lunches sat unopened in the break room. 3 time cards had been punched at exactly 10:58 p.m. the night before. But the 3 workers scheduled for the overnight shift had vanished without taking their phones, wallets, or keys. And according to security footage, none of them were ever seen leaving the building. This is the story of the missing night shift. Kingston Packaging Works had operated for nearly 30 years, producing cardboard boxes and printed labels for supermarkets, pharmacies, and shipping companies across Jamaica. The building was aging but functional. 2 floors, 1 main loading bay, a staff entrance, and a sealed basement level, no longer used after flood damage in the late 1990s. Most employees disliked the overnight shift. The factory was louder at night, colder somehow, and workers often complained of strange mechanical noises long after machines were switched off. Management blamed the old types. The men assigned to the Wednesday night shift were Dwayne Forbes, 41, machine operator, married, father of 2, known as reliable and quiet; Andre Dre Mullings, 29, forklift driver, popular, outgoing, always playing music from his phone; Leroy Bennett, 54, maintenance technician, worked there longer than almost anyone else. They had worked together many times before. Nothing about that night appeared unusual. Security cameras captured the 3 arriving separately between 10:41 p.m. and 10:56 p.m. Dwayne entered first, carrying a blue lunch cooler. Andre came next, laughing on a phone call. Leroy arrived last, umbrella in hand, nodding to the camera as he always did. At 10:58 p.m., all 3 punched in. At 11:07 p.m., camera footage showed them in the break room, joking over vending machine coffee. At 11:19 p.m., they walked onto the factory floor. That was the last clear footage of them together. The cameras inside the factory were old analog units, grainy and fixed in place. At 11:43 p.m., camera 4 facing the loading bay flickered for 6 seconds. When the image returned, a stack of flat cardboard bundles had shifted several feet across the floor. No person was visible moving them. At 12:16 a.m., camera 2 recorded Andre crossing the floor quickly, looking over his shoulder toward the rear corridor leading to maintenance. He appeared to be shouting something. There was no audio. He was not seen again. At 12:22 a.m., Dwayne's wife received a missed call from his phone. No voicemail was left. She assumed it was accidental. At 12:31 a.m., the factory landline dialed emergency services, but disconnected before anyone spoke. Records later confirmed the call lasted 4 seconds. No one could explain who made it. At 12:47 a.m., Leroy's daughter received a text message from his phone containing only 3 words: "Down here now." She replied immediately. When day supervisor Colin Barrett arrived at 6:03 a.m., the staff entrance was still locked from inside. He used his key. The machines on line B were running idle, feeding blank cardboard until it jammed onto the floor.
Dwayne's lunch cooler sat unopened. Andre's phone charger was plugged into the wall. Leroy's tool belt was hanging on a hook near maintenance. No sign of struggle, no blood, no broken exits, no missing vehicles. Their cars remained in the employee lot. Investigators searched every room, office, storage cage, and roof access point. Nothing. They checked the loading bay doors, still bolted from within. No one had used the main exits after midnight. Then they opened the old basement level. According to company records, it had been unused for years after repeated flooding and electrical damage. The stairwell door was chained but not locked. Dust coated the steps. At the bottom, officers found standing water, rusted shelving, and 3 sets of fresh, muddy footprints leading inward. Only inward. There were no returning prints. The tracks ended abruptly near a collapsed section of wall. Behind it was solid concrete. Police reviewed 7 hours of surveillance. At 1:03 a.m., Camera 5 overlooking the rear corridor captured something investigators never publicly explained. The hallway lights dimmed. Then all three men appeared, walking single file toward the basement stairwell. Dwayne first, Andre second, Leroy last. Their movements were slow and unnatural, as if distracted or listening. None looked at the camera. All three disappeared through the stairwell door. No one came back up. What disturbed investigators most was this. The timestamp skipped from 103:11 to 109:48 during the sequence. Nearly 7 minutes were missing. After news spread, former employees came forward with stories. Several claimed they heard knocking sounds from beneath the floor during overnight shifts. One said tools often went missing and reappeared wet. Another insisted the basement had once connected to an older tunnel system built before the factory existed. Management denied this. A retired supervisor mentioned an accident in 1998 involving a worker trapped below during flooding. No official death record was ever found. Over time, three major theories emerged. 1. Planned disappearance. The men staged their own vanishings, but they left money, phones, identification, and vehicles behind. None accessed bank accounts again. 2. Criminal involvement. Someone inside the building removed them through an unknown route, yet no hidden exit was ever discovered. 3. Something in the basement. The muddy footprints, the strange call, and the final text all point downward, but searches found nothing except concrete walls and floodwater. 6 months later, after the factory closed permanently, a demolition crew entered the basement before teardown. One worker reported hearing machinery running somewhere below them. There was no lower level on the building plans. Then, from inside a sealed wall cavity, came the sound of 3 knocks. The crew refused to continue. The building was demolished 2 weeks later. No bodies were ever found. No explanation was ever given. And the disappearance of Dwayne Forbes, Andre Mullings, and Leroy Bennett remains one of Jamaica's strangest unsolved mysteries that never officially happened. What do you think happened to the missing night shift? Did they uncover something hidden beneath the factory, or were they led there by something else? Let me know in the comments.